My husband and I work together at my father-in-law's company. Although we work in the same company, my husband and I are in different departments. I work in the sales department and travel more frequently than my husband. Lately, my husband has been arguing with me more often about my business trips. One day I was ordered by the company to go on a 2-week business trip, which led to a huge fight between my husband and me. When I returned from the business trip, I found completed divorce papers waiting for me, so I promptly submitted them, and that was the outcome. I often had to go on business trips due to my job, which always led to complaints from my husband. If it had just been complaints, that would have been okay, but recently the business trips became the trigger for major fights. In the end, this became the catalyst for us divorcing. My snide husband gave me a painful experience, and I want you to hear it. Ugh, husbands who make snide remarks and nag are so irritating, right? They meddle in your work even though they have no clue. Sounds like a satisfying story, right? Okay, keep going. Thank you. So let's continue right away. My husband Ashwin and I both work at a company managed by my father-in-law. By the way, we work in different departments. Since joining this company, I've been working in sales nonstop. On the other hand, my husband has been gaining experience in various departments, aiming to become the next president. My job is incredibly busy, and there's never a dull moment, but I find it fulfilling and enjoyable every day. My husband and I have been married for 2 years, having met at a company drinking party where we happened to sit next to each other and hit it off. The period before we got married was quite short. Perhaps because the period before marriage was short, I gradually started to see my husband's flaws after we got married. Since my job involves frequent business trips, it often caused friction with my husband. Every time I went on a business trip, my husband would make snide remarks, and I couldn't help but feel frustrated. Sorry, I have to go on another business trip from now on.
Huh? You're going on another business trip? You're so carefree, aren't you? Unlike you, I'm studying and working in various places to become the president. I have plenty to do. But Kelsey, you just call it a business trip and then go sightseeing and buy souvenirs. Must be nice, huh?
I'm not sightseeing or going on vacation or anything. I'm going for business purposes. I never play around during business trips.
You say that, but are you really just playing around? Honestly, I envy how you can travel on the company's dime.
Even though I say I'm doing sales work, he never listens. He seems to want to say he's the one doing more work and trying harder. Recently, whenever something doesn't suit him, he's started loudly complaining to me. Let's talk about that dinner with curry one day.
Hey, Kelsey, what's for dinner tonight?
What do you mean? It's curry.
I'm asking why you made such a lazy cooking.
It's not lazy at all. I made it properly.
Making curry is just cutting ingredients and adding the roux, right? That's definitely lazy cooking.
Then why don't you just not eat this lazy food?
What? Are you telling me not to eat anything?
Well, you don't want to eat lazy cooking, right?
Who do you think allows us to live this good life? If you keep being cheeky, I'll divorce you.
He started telling me he would divorce me whenever something didn't please him. Our relationship as husband and wife deteriorated more and more because of that. By then, I was already feeling quite anxious about my marriage with him. One day, the company ordered me to go on a 2-week business trip. I knew he would complain again, but ignoring him would have made things even more complicated, so I reported it to my husband the day before.
Huh? Another business trip again? And on top of that, it's for 2 weeks this time? What about my meals during that time?
I'm sorry, but you'll have to figure something out yourself. Since you have the chance, why not try cooking for once?
Why do I have to be the one to cook all of a sudden? Cancel that business trip. You're not going.
What are you saying? That's not something I can do.
It's an order from the company, so it's impossible. I'm the next president, so what I say goes, right?
But my father-in-law, who is the president, really wants me to go.
Anyway, this business trip is cancelled. I'll inform Dad myself.
Ashwin doesn't have the right to cancel my business trip, right? Plus, I don't even know if Ashwin can become the president. Honestly, under the current circumstances, becoming president seems quite difficult.
So what are you saying? That I'm not as good at my job as you, Kelsey?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But it sounds like you're saying I don't do any work at all.
Well, let's face it. You don't seem to do much. You just push off all the tough stuff onto other people and don't really contribute anything yourself. It's common knowledge around the office. Honestly, what you're doing right now is no different from stealing a paycheck.
Feeling like I had hit a nerve, my husband lashed out at me in a fit of rage.
Kelsey, you've become so disrespectful lately. Are you trying to get me to divorce you?
It's you, Ashwin, who's been disrespectful, not me. You're looking down on me too much, Ashwin.
Kelsey, you're below me. You don't get to talk to me like that. You can't even cook properly, and you neglect your housework by making excuses about business trips. I'm divorcing you, Kelsey. I honestly didn't think you were such an incompetent woman, Kelsey.
Oh, here we go again. Divorce, divorce. It's not something you say lightly.
You're scared of being divorced by me, aren't you, Kelsey?
No, I'm not scared or anything.
If you divorce me now, you won't be able to live as luxurious as you do now. If you want to be the president's wife, you just need to be obedient and follow me from now on.
Satisfied with himself, my husband laughed and walked away. As I watched my departed husband, I became convinced that continuing to be with him was impossible. Wow, he's such a typical unpleasant husband. If such an unpleasant guy becomes the president, the company's done for. I feel sorry for the employees, too. This husband of yours really underestimates things. He won't understand until he faces consequences. Honestly, my husband underestimates me too much. That's why I decided he needs to face consequences. So I will continue with my story. My husband strongly opposed this business trip, but I decided to go anyway. When I left the house, my husband glared at me quite a bit, but I ignored it and headed straight to my business destination. That night, my husband called me.
Kelsey, you went on that business trip after all, despite everything I said last night. And you neglected your housework and didn't even make me dinner.
I was rushing around this morning and I didn't have time to clean up. I'm sorry I left a mess. And you said to fend for myself with dinner, didn't you?
You're really an incompetent wife. You're not fit to be my wife. I'm divorcing you.
Since I had another appointment scheduled, I had to hang up on my husband's call. Having said his piece, my husband seemed to calm down and didn't contact me again. 2 weeks later, I returned home as planned. When I entered the house, the rooms were strangely tidy. I thought my husband had had a change of heart and cleaned up for me, but that didn't seem to be the case. Glancing at the table, I noticed something on it. It was a piece of paper, a divorce notice. My husband's name was even on it. I didn't understand, but there was no note, so I decided to call my husband to find out what was going on. He answered my call. Where are you now? And what's the deal with the divorce notice on the table?
I'm at my parents' house right now. I'm going to live here for a while until you get down on your knees and apologize to me.
I see. Then what are those divorce papers?
If you don't want to apologize to me, then file for divorce. By that, I mean you'll be a stranger.
Are you serious about that?
Of course I'm serious. I'm always ready to dump you, Kelsey. If you don't want me to dump you, come apologize to me right now.
As he said that, my husband hung up the phone. My mind was already made up. I quickly signed the divorce papers and headed to the city hall to submit them. And just like that, the divorce was finalized. I was finally divorced from my husband. As I filled out the divorce papers, I couldn't help but think, what a terrible man my husband is. He was truly the worst. I can't believe the divorce was granted so easily. A few hours later, my husband came back home with his mother. I guess he was expecting me to come to his house and apologize, so he was getting impatient with my lack of action. My mother-in-law standing next to my husband glared at me and said, I heard from Ashwin that you, Kelsey, have been disrespectful to him. I thought you would come home from your business trip today and apologize right away, but you haven't come at all. Just as Ashwin says, you're a really impudent wife.
Exactly what my mother says. Who do you think you are living off of? If this keeps up, I'm really going to divorce you.
I already submitted the divorce papers and they were accepted. My husband probably never thought I would file for divorce. He looked pretty surprised and dumbfounded.
No way.
I also felt that Ashwin and I were not going to make it from here on out, so I got the divorce papers filed as you wished.
Hey, wait a minute. It's not right to just file for divorce without talking to me.
Then what about that divorce paper that was left there? Didn't you leave it there because you wanted to divorce me?
No, that's not it. It was for... I thought that by showing you the signed divorce papers, you would be scared and stop being disrespectful to me.
Isn't it strange to prepare a divorce paper for such a reason? So you wanted to divorce me, didn't you, Ashwin? I don't mind that, so that's fine. I've been thinking about divorce for a while now.
But if you divorce me, you won't be able to live a rich life or become a company president's wife.
I didn't marry you, Ashwin, because I wanted to be a president's wife, so I don't mind at all.
Hey, can't you be a little more honest? You don't really want to divorce me, do you?
Now that's not true. If you didn't want to get a divorce, you wouldn't have filed for a divorce in the first place. Aren't you the one who really doesn't want to get a divorce, Ashwin?
Well...
Hey, Kelsey, divorce is something that a husband and wife need to discuss and decide on together. Since Ashwin is against this divorce, you should cancel it. So keep cooking for Ashwin as his wife from now on. Mom, in the first place, you can't cancel a divorce that has already been accepted, and I don't intend to cancel it. Kelsey, are you sure you're okay with this? You're going to regret this for sure. Yes, I think I would regret it more if I didn't get a divorce here. You always complain and nag at me every time I come home from a business trip, and you yell at me loudly when you're not happy. I don't want to live with such a selfish person. I've reached my limit. I would much rather be divorced and single for the rest of my life than continue living with you, Ashwin. I said what I was thinking. My husband's expression turned sullen at this remark. My mother-in-law glared at me even more. I could see that both my husband and my mother-in-law were getting irritated. But then my husband suddenly started to grin and said this to me.
If we get divorced, what are you going to do about work? You're not thinking of continuing, are you?
Of course, I find my current job fulfilling and interesting, and I plan to continue doing it.
Don't be ridiculous. Do you think you can continue working for this company after you divorce me?
Honestly, I don't like working in the same company as you.
If you say you're going to divorce me, I'm going to have you, Kelsey, quit the company. You don't have to come in from tomorrow on.
What are you talking about? Ashwin, you don't have the authority to fire me.
Me? I'm the next president.
So what does that mean?
Can't you understand even after I've said this much? It's really a pain to have an incompetent employee. As the next president, I have the authority to fire employees, so it's only natural.
Whether or not I have to quit the company is something that my father-in-law, the president, has the authority to decide, isn't it?
I'm sure my father will fire you too.
Yes, yes. If you don't want to lose your job, follow Ashwin's instructions. This is not going anywhere. Let's ask him directly.
Who are you going to ask?
The president, my father-in-law, of course. I'm going to call him now, so wait a minute. Because I couldn't talk with my husband and my mother-in-law, I called my father-in-law. Actually, I had already informed my father-in-law about the divorce before my husband and his mother arrived. My father-in-law understood the situation this time, so the conversation proceeded smoothly. And my father-in-law expressed that he wanted to talk directly with my husband and mother-in-law, so he agreed to come to our house right away. It seems like your dad will come over soon.
Is that true?
It seems like he also has something to discuss with both of you. I'm at work right now, but I'll head over from there. Wait a minute. When you say both of you, do you mean me? Yes, that's right.
Wait, does that mean Dad already knew we were getting divorced?
Of course he knew. I had already informed him about it.
What? What does that mean? Dad is taking your side?
I wouldn't say he's taking my side. More like he's speaking from a neutral standpoint, I think.
Even so, supporting my wife over his own son. Isn't that strange? Kelsey, are you possibly lying?
I'm just telling the truth. Well, he should be here soon, so let's wait for Dad. Shortly after, my father-in-law arrived. My father-in-law lowered his head to me, then looked sharply at my husband and mother-in-law, and my father-in-law began to speak.
I've heard everything from Kelsey. Ashwin, I hear that you have been quite cocky and rude to Kelsey, who is working hard at her job and housework. Also, when Kelsey went on a business trip, you apparently said something like she was using company money for a vacation. Kelsey has been working hard for the company's sales, and we've asked her to go on business trips. Yet you speak so arrogantly. Do you, Ashwin, know anything about the company? But it's a fact that my job is more demanding than Kelsey's, isn't it? I'm also the next president, and my job is much more challenging and busier than Kelsey's. Explain exactly what's so demanding about your job. I've heard everything from the other employees. You delegate all the difficult tasks to others and just complain yourself. And you're always late to the company. Since when did you become so important? Well, yeah, I'm the son of the president. It's a fact that I'm important. Ashwin, you're absolutely hopeless. Do you realize how much trouble you've caused for the other employees? You can't do any work, you complain, and you even try to harass female employees. Ashwin, as a professional, no, as a human being, you're finished. You've been doing whatever you like in the company I've built up. How are you going to take responsibility for this? I'm sorry.
My husband was severely scolded by my father-in-law. My husband seemed unable to argue back and could only shrink down. Kelsey, you managed to live with such a husband. It really was the right decision to part ways. My father-in-law's lecture continued for a while. Even my husband seemed close to tears.
I think you already understand, but Ashwin, you don't need to work at our company anymore. And don't come back home either. It's already troublesome enough if you depend on us any further. Wait, Dad, just wait a minute. Why do I have to quit the company? Shouldn't it be Kelsey who has to quit? Kelsey is indispensable to the company. Don't you understand even that? If Kelsey quits the company, who will bring in the contracts for the company? That's why I still want Kelsey to continue working at the company. But I'm the next president, you know. If I'm gone, who will take over the company? Let me make it clear, Ashwin. You seem to have deluded yourself into thinking you can become president. But I have never said a word about making you the president. Huh? You're joking, right? I thought I could become president soon. It seems like you misunderstood something. There's no way someone like you could handle being president. But didn't you tell me to learn various things in different departments? Doesn't that mean I should learn various jobs now so that I can handle them as president later? You couldn't do any work properly in any department, so you were just being shuffled around. You didn't try to work in any department at all. People like you are not needed in our... You don't have to come from tomorrow.
Hold on, isn't that a bit much? Ashwin has been trying his best in his own way. Isn't it terrible to say he's not needed at the company?
It's because you always spoiled him like this that he turned out to be such a failure. I may not need to say this here, but I'm divorcing you. I've been putting up with you for a long time, but I'm sick and tired of living with you.
What? What about me is so irritating to you? I haven't done anything wrong.
Aren't you splurging on my money? You don't work. You don't do housework at all.
We should have some leeway, right? Can't I spend a little?
But there's a limit to everything, isn't there? Don't you understand even that? Anyway, I can't live with you anymore.
Wait a minute. I don't want a divorce. Please reconsider one more time.
That's right, Dad. I don't want my family to fall apart like this. It's your own fault that it turned out like this, isn't it? If you want to blame someone, blame your own actions up until now. At least leave me at the company. I've never even tried to find a job. Anyway, I'm worried. It's a request from your adorable son. Please, help me? Don't say such childish things. You're already an adult, so figure it out yourself.
Even if you suddenly say you want a divorce, I'm also in trouble. How are we supposed to live from now on?
Aren't you still at an age where you can work?
Are you really serious about getting divorced?
I've said it many times. I'm serious about it.
The two who had been pushed away by my father-in-law remained silent, and then my husband looked at me as if he was relying on me and said,
Kelsey, I think we should give it another try.
What do you mean? You mean because you can't live without my earnings?
Of course, I'll work hard too, but I want you to support me until I find a job. Haven't we supported each other as husband and wife until now?
Well, you did support me financially to some extent, but being together was really tough and difficult for me. And now, you don't even have any money, right? Being with just a burden like that, what benefit is it to me?
You don't have to put it that way.
At this point, my husband started to shed tears. It's just wasting time to deal with him anymore. I guess I'll go back to my parents' house soon. Let's discuss it through lawyers from now on. Ignoring my husband's words, I quickly packed my things and left with my father-in-law. My left-behind husband made a fuss like a child throwing a tantrum. My mother-in-law was glaring at him. Oh, wow, this is a mess. Seriously, this must be the result of my mother being too lenient. I never expected my mother-in-law to get divorced, too. I guess my husband's personality takes after my mother-in-law. Anyway, I'm glad my father-in-law is a decent person. It's really good to have someone understanding in the in-laws. It was really good to have someone understanding to talk to. Well, I'd like to talk about what happened in the end. Just a bit more, please listen. My ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law, who were kicked out of the house, apparently started living in an apartment together. My ex-husband seemed to have started looking for a new job, but as you know, he couldn't find one and is barely getting by with part-time work. However, both my ex-husband and ex-mother-in-law haven't changed their spending habits, and it seems they've accumulated a significant amount of debt. They seem to be struggling a lot, but well, it's all self-inflicted. I did receive messages from my ex-husband begging for a reconciliation, but I ignored them completely. He was so persistent that I even blocked him to cut off contact. On the other hand, I'm still working at the same company. Work is going well, and I was recently promoted. I'm busier than ever, handling important tasks and enjoying fulfilling days. I'll take a break from romance for now and focus on work. So, that's it. It's a bit abrupt, but that's the end of the story. See you somewhere else. Good job. I'm glad Kelsey is continuing with her job. Her ex-husband was really unpleasant, huh? I hope Kelsey find happiness from now on. It turned out well because her father-in-law was decent. She seems busy with work, but keep enjoying and working hard. A husband who quickly talks about divorce over selfish things. It started as a joke, but Kelsey took action and actually got divorced. That's how Kelsey finally found happiness. I want to support Kelsey from now on. Even if the other person is joking, it's good to try putting their words into action. By doing so, things can move in a positive direction and you can achieve better results than you thought.